feel good talk where our focus is on mind, body, soul, and business. You are now tuning into Let's Talk About It with your girl Izzy Meditates and your girl Kendra Moore. We have
Hello.
a special hello. We have a special guest here today, and her name is Letty Langner. We are so excited to have you. We've been bragging about you all week, and we're going to talk about personal development. But before we get on the topic, I'd like for you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Letty Langner. I was born and raised in Brazil, and I live in Delaware, right? I think all of us we live in Delaware, and I have been in United States for it's going for 11 years. I'm married. I'm 34 years old, and I have been married to my sweetheart for over this year is going to be 10 years.
Wow. Very
Wow,
nice.
that is very nice. So, with you being from Brazil, tell us about how you came over, how you came to the U.S., and a little bit about your journey here.
Okay, so I am that typical dreamer, little girl that was born in the South America. I grew up watching American movies. I grew up listening to American music, and I did not understand a word. I know how to sing all the songs. I used to come to home after school, be on the couch watching MTV. That was the main channel I used to watch to you can name it, like Backstreet Boys,
Oh, wow.
Spice Girls, they were all from my time. Jennifer Lopez, can't forget about her.
Yeah.
So I used to watch every single of the videos and then just mimic the musics. I know all the lyrics, mimic the dances. I used to watch Home Alone, all the movies, and it just dream. Actually, my favorite was Smallville, the Superman.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
I used to
Oh,
love that show.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I used to watch every single week, every single day, and that's how I used to feed my mind with. Growing up in a small town in Brazil, just a little girl. I was about 7 to 8 years old when I started having that understanding that there was another life out there besides of my small town, and I just dream it. I would see the American movies, see, all the streets, the houses, everything looked so different, and it would just feed my mind, and I would just catch myself daydreaming all the time.
Wow.
So I lived with that mindset. My parents raised me to believe that all things were possible. They did not limit my beliefs in a matter, this is where you're going to stay for the rest of your life. No, they always feeding me, I could do anything that I put in my mind to it. And it wasn't until when I was 23 years old I had the opportunity to come to United States to learn the language, to learn the culture, and I did not think it twice. I had opportunity, and I had actually a career in Brazil. I have been over there. I was in the administration, working construction company. Everything was great. It was, I was having my life every single day, going to work, going to church, in the home. And I also wanted to, make a side note on my story, because I did grow up in a bubble of church, home, and work. So I was never exposed to what was completely out there, to a world besides what I saw on TV, besides what I used to watch on TV. So when I had the opportunity, I did not think twice. And I'm also a woman of faith. And I believe that God can use people to speak into your life, and you just gotta take it there and you just go with it. Because sometimes if you have a feeling on your gut, you cannot question. You just gotta go with it because that's the right thing to do. So fast forward, I literally, I was walking in my life, still in Brazil, as if I had already the opportunity to come to United States.
Nice.
You know, putting action every single day. Okay, I do not have a ticket yet. I'm not there yet, but let me prepare my belongings. Let me sell what I can sell because I'm not going to hold on to things that is not going to serve me on my next step.
Right.
What do I need? What is the person what type of person do I need to become to live in my next life, my next journey? Yeah. So, and then when the opportunity came, I said, I want to go. And my focus is going to be to study English, to know the culture. And when I came to United States, I came with a mindset that I was here to immerse myself completely in the American culture. I did not think twice, and I wanted to be more infiltrated with native speakers so I could grow as a person as well.
That's nice. That's beautiful. And I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. Because
I was going to say,
unpack all of this. Go ahead.
I know. It's so beautiful to hear you say that because mindset is everything.
It
If
is.
you have a mindset and then to have not only your mindset, but have what your parents taught you to say, hey, you can do anything. So you've got that foundation. And then what I heard you say was serve. Let go of things that do not serve you. And when I say that to people, they're like, what do you mean? Like, are you better than me? You don't want no things that don't work. They need to go. That's what serve means. No longer serving you. So when I heard that, I was like, yes, because that clears out all the weeds.
Yep.
You got the flowers that are growing in your heart. They're sprouting out. You've got that all in your mind. You've presented your eyes. You're seeing, watching on TV, singing the songs, the happy songs and things like that. You're speaking everything into existence. And that's wonderful. And so no wonder you're so successful. I mean, I could just see it in your spirit. It's just really bright. That's amazing. And I love it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And Izzy, you hit on all of the 3 points that I wrote down. Feeding your mind, your mindset, and the willingness to let go. And that's let go of things. I think that's let go of willingness to let go of people. You know, I think it's willingness to let go of your belief. I think sometimes people have, we've been fed, maybe negative thoughts, and we have this kind of self-esteem issue, or, I can't do that because X, Y, and Z. It's like getting rid of all of those thoughts and all of that. And it's not easy, but, clearly, Leticia, you have like a passion, a desire. And I think where that also comes in is that she saw herself already at the end. And I'm a big proponent when it comes to like goals and stuff, that you see the end first and you work your way backwards. Because otherwise, how do you know, what that looks like for you, right? You can go down many different directions and end up someplace you didn't intend to, but that's because you never visualized what that end was. So that is awesome.
She hit she was enjoying the process of it too.
Yeah.
The process and seeing the end goal. Like that's like on point. That's like the ultimate mindset. Yeah.
So tell us about some of the challenges that you had during that process, whether it was, your own mindset, or maybe friends, or maybe, doesn't necessarily have to be those two things, but what were some of the challenges that you faced as you were like, walking through that?
So, so many challenges, like identity challenge, because you are coming to a new culture and you don't feel like you belong. but you also wanted to be a part of. Challenges of the opposition, people that love you, that care about you, but because they love you so much, they care about you so much, they wanted to hold you as close as they can, but
Yep.
it's and then you cannot fly, you cannot go, right?
Right.
And also challenge of yes, limited beliefs all the time, the language, everything. And I feel like for me, what helped me through the most, for example, in Brazil, prior to come to United States, right? You can share all of your ideas. I could share with everyone. However, the people that had not the same mentality than me, that I had at that time, they could not grasp the dream that was born inside of me, right? The fire, the passion, the desire to experience something that's unknown, right? Because we, in other countries, we know about the United States on what the media shows you, what the movies shows you, but we don't certainly know what is real, right? Because you can't touch it, you can't walk on it, so it's different. And I always fed my mind and my dream with TV, right? At least I have always, my entire life, been a study of famous people. I always know what successful, not just famous, but successful people are doing. And if I can relate to them in some way, I am studying what did they do, what did they do in the morning, what did they do in the evening, what's their lifestyle, what was their struggle. If their struggle relates to me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to just copy what they have done to become successful. Because if you work for them, it's going to work. It's going to work for me. I study life of so many people at a young age, believe it or not, but I always loved watching the history of famous singers, dancers, anybody that would feed the desire of growth inside of me.
Yeah.
And in Brazil, prior to coming here, I had a lot of people saying, if you go, you are going to miss a part of your life here. If you go, you're going to lose your career. If you go, you are going to miss a part with your family, which is extremely important. You are going for somebody that's uncertain. Why are you taking that step? And for me, I always, just like you mentioned, Kendra, I always look for the results. I'm not a person that I am analyzing the process, and I have never been that type of person that I'm looking through the detail of the process. I just know where I go, and then I figure out along the way. And that was the same way. That's why, like, sometimes I drive my husband crazy. I'm like, that's where we're going. I don't know how I'm gonna get it there, but and that was exactly when I came to United States. I just know, I said, I just need the ticket, I'll be there. I don't know where, but I mean, I knew where I was going, but I didn't care to look on the map, to study the location, to understand, because the desire and the purpose was there.
Yeah.
Now, as far as being here and having the limitations, the identity. The identity was a huge part of my struggles, because I wanted to share with you to a standpoint of someone that came to the United States determined to not let go of who I am in my roots, but also open to immerse myself in a culture. Because if I were to stay within my own culture, my own upbringing, I would not survive in a new land. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yep.
completely get
It
that.
does. And I love, the couple of things that you talked about within that, which is, and this is one thing, Letty, you and I hear a lot, because Letty and I, we do a lot of personal development stuff together. So what we talk about a lot, success leaves clues, right? So success leaves clues. So just follow, the pattern. But I mean, it sounds easy, but you have to have that discipline, to do it. But there is, like she said, there's no reason why you aren't able to do what you see and admire, from someone else. And I think sometimes too, because we see them at in the successful phase, because we're looking at them and we're admiring them, it would behoove us to go backwards from where they are today to really understand, how did they get there? What struggles? How did they grow up? And, what were their challenges and what strategies did they put in place? Because oftentimes we idolize people, but they had to go through things, right? And then once you start breaking that down, then you understand, like, oh, they were a person like me, right? And then it really humanizes them, and it helps you to say, I can do that too. And then the other thing that you talked about, and not losing who you are, and I think that too, I know when I was working, I'm still working in corporate America, but, one thing that I see, especially among people of color, when we get into corporate America, it's like two extremes, but sometimes we're afraid to grow and to like move up and to do this and that because we don't want to lose who we are. You know what I mean? Like we want to be seen as, still that home girl and not necessarily that boss. And I hate to hear this because people say it all the time. Well, I'm not trying to move up, and you don't necessarily have to try to move up. But I think that mentality stops you from operating out of your greatness because you are it's almost like you're saying, well, if I operate out of my greatness, then that's going to diminish everybody else or make them feel bad, right? So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stay down here with everyone else. And I think that mentality doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve the people around you, because you should be there to inspire people. Like, oh, Letty can do it, I can do it. Izzy can do it, I can do it. Kendra can do it, I can do it. So love, love, love what you said. We have some comments. So let's get to our first 5 comments. Is it Kaya?
Kaya Milbourne says.
Kaya Milbourne. Hello. Hi, Kaya. Thank you for joining us. Sorry, my font is all messed up. Charles Brickley. Good evening, ladies. Good evening, Charles. Awesome facts and advice. Thank you so much. Colette's in the house. Hi, Colette.
Charles Brickley says, how do you stay grounded in your culture, living in a country that has a totally different culture? And the second question is, what are some of the challenges that you faced?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Yeah.
So how do I stay grounded in my culture? I believe it's because I moved to the United States at the age of 23 years old. So I was not old enough, but also I had lived so many years in Brazil already, being born and raised, that it's just so in my roots that it's just there on my everyday life, right? Now I find that probably for someone that's moving from another country to here at 5 years old, 7 years old, for them to let go of their roots, it's probably a little bit, easily. I mean, not easily, but it's hard to keep the roots within themselves because they are not in the environment, right? So for me, it is extremely hard overall because yes, for the most part, I'm involved with Americans. Most of my friends, they are Americans. However, I have my family, right? I have my family that I keep in contact with, and they remind me of who I am in my roots, right? When I go through hardship in my life, whether if it is emotionally or in my lifestyle or any situation I'm going through, that's when my roots they come alive, right? Because if there is one thing I'm extremely grateful for being Brazilian, born and raised, I have learned to be resilient. I have learned to be an overcomer, right? I was born with a lot of wealth, and then overnight my family lost everything. I started working when I was 10 years old, and I was raised by a single mom. And being raised in that environment and not having everything given to you, and not everything so accessible like in United States. We do have everything very accessible, right? We can compare like minimum wage, and we can go on and on and on. So in South America, lifestyle is extremely hard for you to have that quality of life, right? So over here, I'm the type of person, yes, I have a good quality of life. But when the time hard comes, if it does come, I'm ready to hold up my sleeves and put in the work. And if I need to start over, I'm going to start over, because that's when my roots they come back and they say, that this is actually who I am. I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's really good too, because I think it's important for us to look back at our failures in terms of saying our hardships, just in recognition that we went through something and we were able to survive it, right? So once you've done it one time, then, each time, not that it's necessarily easy to go through things, but at least you already have the proof that you can do it. So other than once you recognize that, then it's just, putting it into action. So that's awesome. So, Leticia, can you tell us a little bit about, in terms of personal development, some of the personal development activities that you do, like your favorite ones, and why? How does it help?
This is my jam. Honestly, like I am a 100% believer of personal development, and I have done personal development even before I knew it was personal development, to be honest, because I also didn't speak English, so I didn't know what that meant. So for me, personal development, it's morning routine. Waking up, I love waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Wake up, you have what your drink. Let me just actually, this is going to be more specific. Let me run you through what I do in the morning. So 5 o'clock, wake up, I go immediately, I wash my face with lukewarm water, and then that just wakes me up, right? And then I get dressed, get ready for workout. Then that's when I put in my workout clothes. You can drink anything that's going to give you a boost, whether it's coffee. I drink energy drink, and then that gets me going. I do my workout. Now for me personally, I am I'm a high energy person, but my body needs to be moving. I'm not a person that can stay still for a long time. You can tell because I'm moving my hands all the time. So if my body getting a state of rest, then that's when everything goes like down the bottom. And I do not allow myself to get in that stage. Otherwise, I can share later, but I have a background of depression as well. So I walk away from that physical state, right? So then workout and personal development. At least for me, personal development needs to be at least 30 minutes. And I love audible books. If I'm actually doing something, I have audible books in my ears, and I'm just feeding my mind. if I can sit down and read a hard copy book, I'm highlighting. For me, it doesn't work to just read. I need to highlight and tell myself over and over again what I'm reading, so I'm actually register and feeding my soul, feeding my mind with those words of encouragement and building myself. So that's pretty much what I do on a daily basis.
That is
That is
awesome.
an awesome schedule.
I know. So, Izzy, what's your personal development things that you like to do?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm like Letty. I like to stay busy all the time
Yeah.
until my body tells me that I no longer need to be busy and I need to rest. So my personal development is always keeping my mind in the right place.
Okay.
And by doing that, I learn. My goal is to watch some type of documentary or something that I've not seen before or learned. And I try to do this on a daily basis on my downtime. And for most people, they're like, that's not a downtime. If you know what I mean? Like if you're still constantly learning. But like right before the show, for me, I wanted to learn something new and it puts me in an open mind. So when I'm listening to Letty, I have the stuff that I've learned, but I'm also learning from her at the same time. So
Yeah.
I usually wake up. I try to get up as early as possible. It depends. And even though it's not a set time, I have a set thing. So first thing I do, as soon as I wake up my eyes, I do my meditation. And it's either in bed or in my little meditation area. After I do that, I have my drink, whatever it may be, my little pink drink or my water. And then I do my exercises. After I do my exercise, I get my children all ready for the homeschool. And while they're doing their homeschool, I'm going across my list. What do I have checked off for today? And I go down the list. And then I go to mentors. I have personal mentors. I check out their Instagram page and their Facebook page, see what good things they have going. And then boom, I'm off to the race. Posting positivity on all of my Instagram pages because I feel like that's a part of my role to give others love and inspiration. And so, yeah, I make sure that that's done. And then I just kind of smooth into my day. And then at night, to settle down, I check off everything that I need to do. And then I go back into more personal development, reading, writing, journaling. And then often, if I just need to step away from that, I'll know. Like if I put something on and I feel like the chatter is too much, I'll shut it off. And then I'll do something that I like to do, like I'll crochet. Or sometimes I'll just bug Kendra. I send her messages late night.
Yeah,
Hey, girl.
we talk all night and all day.
I was like, wait a minute, I know she's working, but I'll send. And that brings me joy to like reach out and to feel connected because I have this circle of just women who are boss. And when I say boss, not in a boss where it's about money, but in a boss mentality that their mindset is so right that they can help other people. And so, I'll vibe off of her. I might vibe off of Colette, or sometimes I might, vibe off of Sin. And I just keep in contact. And before you know it, my days, through, I've done everything that I've needed to do, on that list of goals. And I feel invigorated and ready to conquer the next day and to keep on moving. So yeah, that's how I practice personal development every day. And for most, they're like, oh my goodness, that's a lot. Like if I show you my calendar.
I got to get on your count. I got to get the calendar thing going. Because I will say, for me, when I am operating at my peak, I'll do this thing where I am like, okay, these are the 3 things that I need to get done today. Yeah. And have those 3 because for me, my mind will just go everywhere. And if I don't intentionally that morning or the night before say, tomorrow I need to get these 3 things done. And once I say that, then like my actions are now focused. But if I don't say that, then it's like all over. For my personal development, I love podcasts. I'm always, I listen to podcasts all the time. Ed Milet is one of my favorite, like he's like one day I'm going to put him on my vision board. I decided today as I was listening to him, because one day I just want to meet him, ideally be a guest on his show. But I listen to podcasts, love Grant Cardone, right, Leticia? So that's your number one. You love Grant. And then there are a few others, Les Brown, so So for me, listening to podcasts where it's feeding, for me, for example, Ed Milet kind of feeds my personal development in a self kind of get your mind right, where's your heart, you know, that kind of thing. Not that it's really touchy feely, but it's different than Les Brown, which is very like you can do it, but he speaks from a spiritual sense. So that speaks to my, you know, to my spirit. And then Grant Cardone is like, get your blankety blank out there and get it done. And he speaks to my like action, like, okay, you need to like do this. So so that's mine, is just like feeding myself with these. And then in terms of my routine in the mornings when I wake up, I love to stretch before I even get out of the bed. So I'll do some stretches with my legs and stuff just to kind of get my body moving. And then either I'm working out in the house, or now that it's nice, I'll go outside and walk and jog. Come back and get David ready, you know. So that's like a kind of crazy moment, and then I'm going into work. But yeah, so I have a really short amount of time. I feel like I'm in the mornings, but that's why when I do have down times, or if I'm in the car, like today, I picked David up from school, driving home. You know, I throw on Ed Milet, like, you know. Yeah. So when I get the opportunities to, I try to do that. So I think that's good. So I'm looking, we have a couple of comments. So let's go with our couple of comments. So that way we don't, Colette says, love this talk. Thank you, Colette.
Thank you, Colette.
Thank you, Colette.
Appreciate you.
Colette also says, those hardships grow us into who we are.
Yeah.
That is so true. And then Robert Langner says, podcast for life.
That's right, Robert.
And then Tabitha says, what are some of your favorite podcasts other than GC? Karen says, good evening. Hi, Karen. And then Tabitha says, Rebecca says, what are some of your favorite podcasts? So, I mean, I can answer one of mine. I love Rich Roll. I am in love with Rich Roll. I love how he brings on all different guests of all different walks of life. And then Andrew Huberman is the science side of everything. And I love listening to him because he explains a lot of how the brain work and how things function. And I just love listening to those two. And I actually found out about Andrew Huberman on the Rich Roll show. So I probably listen to them the most.
Right.
Yeah, but those are like definitely my two favorites. And it's just something about their energy that is just so calming when they explain stuff.
Yeah.
But when I'm in that mood where I need to have a little kick, I will do straight David Goggins. And he's got, his mouth is just off the chain. But David Goggins will get you on fire. And it's like, okay, if I'm in a day where I'm pitying myself, I'm like, dude, I shouldn't be pitying myself. Let me go to David Goggins. And then I'm like, okay, well, guess I'm going to have to do this then.
So you guys get out your phones, because right now I'm putting in these people. I'm like, okay, because I don't have them on my list.
I love David. I have started listening to his book.
I'm putting it on.
Yeah.
Got it to a point where it was so intense. I was like, okay, I need to take a break.
Yeah.
But I love his the story of his life.
Right.
You know, if you need somebody that get you out of your couch and show you that it's worth living, and you are meant to something way bigger than just with your own emotions, listen to David.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he started when he didn't wait to get to a certain point to reach his goal. Like he was overweight and he decided to do the race anyway. Like, like you're crazy. You're going to die doing this race, like 200 and 300 pounds. And you running, I don't know how many miles that was. It was a lot. I couldn't do it. And I'm fairly fit. I mean, and when he got done, there were things on him that were falling apart. He almost died because he was so determined that he finished the race. And it's just like, it's your mindset, you know, you say, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I like that Letty says, you know what? I just do it.
Yeah.
And my parents used to get on my case a lot about that because I would just be like, I'll tell them, And it wasn't that I was asking for permission in my adult life. I would tell
Right.
them just to let them know what I'm doing because it's already set in motion. The longer you wait, the
Yep.
harder it's going to be. You're going to start thinking about why you're
Yeah.
not going to do this and why you're not going to. And I wanted to mention one thing before you guys. There is Zahir Khan,
Mm.
Instagram friend of mine that is really awesome. He talks about coping with happiness. Crazy, right? You'd think that you wouldn't have to cope with happiness, but what happens is you're so used to being stuck in this place that when you finally reach where you are, you start to think about, well, maybe am I really supposed to be here? The imposter
Mhm.
syndrome pops up.
You
You
deserve
know what
it.
I
Yeah.
mean? Well,
Yeah.
what if people think that I think that I'm too good now, that I'm up in this place?
Right.
Who would ever think you'd have to cope with happiness? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's very true. And in fact, I was at an event and we had a guest speaker, Cindy Trim, and she was like fabulous. So I'm going to now she's on putting her on my list. But one thing that she said, and I've heard it also through other speakers, is that we actually 80% of our self-talk is negative.
Yes.
80%, and not that we necessarily say it out loud, but when it comes to our thoughts,
Right.
80% of the thoughts are negative. And actually, Ed Milet had a guest on his show who was a sciencey guy, and he said the same thing. And what was so interesting is though that so you have this 80-20, right? So
Right.
your 20% positive talk and thoughts, let's say, will get you like this far, right?
Mhm.
Your 80%, so let's say you're like here. So here's your positive. Now your 80% negative thoughts is actually much more effective, and it like weighs you down on a much,
Right.
much greater level. So you're
Right.
doing yourself a lot more harm than with that 80% negativity. So,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
always trying to watch what you say and how you think about yourself, right? And then the other thing that Cindy said, which I also found very profound on this topic, is if you want to know what a person thinks about themselves, look at how they live their life,
Right. Right.
right? So you look
True.
at how they live their life because they're telling themselves that this is, okay. Now, sure, there's some people that are living their life and they want to do better, but you would actually see it in their actions. They may
Yeah.
not be there yet, but you see their actions that they're trying to get there. But,
Right.
so I thought that was, those things are very, very powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to share, for example, if you see me now, right? You might think, I got everything together, but to be honest, for you to get to a point where you can
Yeah.
actually have control over your thoughts
Mm-hmm.
and have control over your body, it takes consistency. It takes a lot of work where you need to be so certain of why you are doing, why you are changing, why do you have so much desire within your soul, your spirit, that you need present to talk to yourself every single day. Look at the mirror and say, look, you are worth fighting for, right?
Right.
Because we're not, yes, we do it for ourselves so we can show up better for the people around us. Yes. But the first person we need to do the change and the growth, it's for ourselves. Because if we can love who we are, if we can fall in love with our mentality, with the way we show up for life, we are going to give love to everyone around us fully, right? We are going to show up whole in in all areas of our life. So, for example, with me, it had one point in my life in Brazil, I was diagnosed with chronic depression.
Mm-hmm.
I took pills to control my depression. For 30 days, I was literally in my bedroom. I did not want to leave the house. I did not want to go to school. Was right in high school. And for 30 days, I was being just prescribed medicine. And that was my life, was my mentality. On the day that I decided to take a step, and then I do not recommend this. I'm just saying for my own personal, I'm just sharing my own personal story. My mom, she came up to me, she said, you can keep living this way because you are hurt, right? You are going through so much emotions, or you can make the decision today to create a new life for you, because I believe you were created for something much bigger. Right. So that day, I literally got my medicine, I threw in the trash, and I said, I do not accept this in my life anymore. Yeah. Right. So I got out of the apartment, I got out of my bedroom, and I said, today starts a new version of me. And yes, do I have waves throughout? Have I had waves throughout my life where I felt that old version of me? Yes. And that's a battle that it doesn't go away. It stays there. However, you need to keep it consistent with your habits of personal growth, for when that old version of you trying to show up, right? You resist because you already have the tools, right? You already have the personal development. You already have the audible book. You already, for example, another thing that gives me fired up is listening to music. For me to put in my physical state in a high physical state where I am producing energy and I'm growing as a person and I'm really happy, I turn on the music. I turn on the music loud, and I'm moving my body, I'm dancing, because I'm trying to fight with the natural version of me, right? So I'm a big believer on you can create the person that you imagine you can be, right? Successful, a boss person, right? A woman that you can actually conquer anything you put your mind to it. You can, but you need to step in that version every single day. That doesn't mean that some days you are going to feel the pressure. That doesn't mean that some days you are not going to feel weak, because you are. Right? We are all humans, and we are not also faking to be somebody we are not, but we are actually presenting ourselves and telling ourselves, look, you can be that woman, look, you can be that guy, right? And you can break it through bondages like generations, curses, chains that maybe carry over from generations, but it just takes one decision for that to break it through.
Yeah. And you have to get rid of something. I mean, you just have to, like, I don't tell everybody what I'm doing all the time. I don't tell everybody my next move, because I've learned that sometimes I might tell one person and it takes them that one sentence to say, girl, that is not going to work. And then I start thinking about it in my head. So I have a specific go-to person, and this person is the only person that knows my dreams and the things that I'm going to go forth, because I know that that person is on the same wavelength as me when it comes to achieving goals. And so that's how I keep it. And it's important to do that. You have to it's not like you have to say, I don't want to talk to these people anymore. You said some of those things you got to keep to yourself until you're mature enough in that stage to accept what they or hear what they have to say, but not accept it and move on with your goals and so forth. So that's really important. And I cut that out a long time ago. Not everybody knows. They won't know until it happens, because I'm not trying to hear what they think I should do. I'm trying to do what I want to do and what's best for me. Yeah.
Well, as long as you show up on Thursdays, because if you whatever you got planned, and one day I get on here, it's like, well, Izzy's in Paris. I'm gonna be like, what?
I'm out. Yeah. We can still do StreamYard from Paris.
Like, based on what you just said, I have learned something different. And this has been like for the past, I would say, year. I have learned to share. To share my ideas, to share my goals, and to share what I'm going for. The reason why, because when you share, you find the people that connect with you that you didn't even imagine inside
Yeah,
of
that's
that
true.
person had
Yeah.
that dream, right? Because then
Yeah.
once you share, you both click, and then you're like, okay, she's
Yeah.
actually my type of person that can run with that project, with that collaboration, and that has
Right.
dreams like I do. And the people that goes against, right, the people that do not support you, then you understand, you're like, okay, that
Right.
person is not in the same stage as me, so
Yeah.
I love them, I support them, but the pace that I'm actually walking on, that
Right.
person
It's
is not
insane.
catching up with me. So let me
Right.
just walk in my path
Right.
and the respect, because they are going to have their own time, and you just move on to your personal growth,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know.
Awesome.
Yeah. Now on
Yeah.
that note, let's go to comments because we have a
Okay.
few comments that's waiting. So Tabitha
Tabitha-
says, "Great." Oh, I'm sorry. Thanks so much. Oh, we were talking about podcasts, so she was asking about podcasts. Charles, I love to tune into feel good talk, and we love that you tuned in. Tabitha says, writing these down too. Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Jean
Jean
Kelly,
Kelly.
good. Go ahead, Izzy.
Sorry. I'm
I
so
want to give,
sorry.
no, I want to
Jean,
give Tabitha another podcast in the audience real quick, but go
okay.
ahead.
Jean Kelly says, good evening, ladies. Awesome topic. And Charles says, yes, consistency is definitely the key. It
Yeah.
is. Karen Dixon Brown says, decision day.
Yes.
And
Nakia
Nakia Neal,
Jill.
hey, Nakia.
Hi,
Great topic,
Nakia.
ladies. Good to see you, girlie.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Charles Brakely says, Leticia, what is your favorite type of music? He means Letty.
uh, I love all types of music.
Yeah.
Okay, so I love pop rock,
Mm-hmm.
I love reggaeton, I
Nice.
love samba, that's a typical Brazilian music.
Mm-hmm.
I love even country music. Sometimes I listen to, you know. It just depends how I'm feeling, depends, you know, what type of music. But I would say when I'm like, okay, let me get things going. I need the extra energy. I usually go for Pitbull and some really high energy music. That's
Yeah.
what yeah,
Music is amazing. It's a healer in so many ways.
it is.
Kaya Milburn says, what are some of the books you've read that has helped you with your personal development? That's a nice
Ooh.
question.
So
Yeah.
first and foremost, the
Mm-hmm.
compound effect.
Yes.
Okay.
Great book.
Second, the 5 second rules
Yeah.
by Mel Robbins.
Uh-huh.
If
Mhm.
you cannot get yourself in doing and taking actions,
Mm-hmm.
read the 5 second rules.
Yeah.
Um, the 10x rule.
Mm-hmm.
If there is one hard book that I was able to read from beginning to end, was the 10x rule by Grant Cardone. Like I said, I'm mostly doing audible books. For me to be sitting and reading, it needs to be very interesting for me to keep reading from beginning to end. The other one, actually, can I just pull up here?
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. And then going back to that 5 second rule, it's very interesting because those books I've read too. And the 5 second rule, what it talks about is you have to, your brain automatically, and after 5 seconds, will kick out your thoughts. So if you say, you know what, today I'm going to work on this, you have like literally 5 seconds to either write it down, take some action towards it, not write it down, but take some action towards it before your brain will kick and say, you know, something else, or like, why should you do that? Or I don't have the time to do that, or I really need to do something else. So I think that's a really great, and for me, the procrastinator of the group, it's, I know I'm not a procrastinator as much as maybe I think I am. But I do have, well, let's put it this way. I do have to do that kind of self-talk because I could very easily be distracted. So that 5-second rule for me is very important to say, like, okay, all right, go, Kendra, get this done. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that book is fascinating. And the 10X rule for that one. So Leticia found it to be because her and I talked about this. She had a hard time reading it. For me, I absolutely loved it. And I think it depends on your personality, because just because the way that Grant speaks,
I know.
right?
So, amiga, I mentioned that was one of the books that I did not have a hard time because
Oh, okay.
you like so interest.
Yes. Okay.
Most of the books, I'm like halfway. I just want to put it on my ears and just turn into
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because you were highlighting. I did see your books. You were highlighting the 10X rule.
Right here, yes.
Yeah. So go ahead with the other. You were looking something else up.
It is get over your damn self.
Yes. I'm looking at
You
my book.
at the S,
Mm.
and you are the girl for the job. If
Yeah.
the imposter syndrome, if you fight with, this is definitely a good book to read. The other one is Girl, Stop Apologizing.
Yeah, that's a
Got
good
on it. Another one that I have read, It Takes What It Takes. And actually, this one was suggested in one of the Stephen Harvey YouTube videos. I love him to death, and he suggested this book. That's why I started reading. And The Magic of Thinking Big, that was suggested by Stephen Harvey as well.
Yeah, nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good read. We should put those in the actual post so people can. Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys are taking notes.
I know, right?
This is like class in session, honey. Tamara says, "Hey, ladies.
Hey.
Hi, Tamara. Thank you for tuning in." And then Nakia says, 5-second rule changed my life. Yeah. That's so she says, that's how I get out of bed to start my morning routine. Exactly.
Perfect.
And that's by Mel Robbins, right? You said that's Mel Robbins? Yeah, she's amazing because she's real. Like she come on her podcast real. However she wake up, she come on and she just kind of, is real with everything. I love that. Nakia Neal says the magic of thinking big is so good too.
I have to get that one.
You
I
got
have
it.
that one on my list.
Yeah.
So the thing that I love, magic of thinking big, is the fact that there's so many resources out there. Like really now there is no reason, and we talk about this a lot, Izzy and I, on like there's no reason why you cannot obtain the knowledge, the guidance. I know for me, I've had in-person mentors, coming up through work and stuff like that. And now I'm at a place where I don't really have mentors that's in person, but my podcast and all those, like, they are mentors. And I think now, like they say in this day and age, there are more people becoming millionaires than any other time because we have so much access to different resources and people and knowledge. So you guys make sure you take advantage, of what's out there, because otherwise, you're just going to be doing the same thing. And if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. But, if you're looking to develop and move and start to, so speaking of moving, I want to talk about moving into different circles in terms of friends, because one thing that I have found personally is that it is helpful, at least for me, to not be an island, through my journey. So can you talk a little bit about, how you interact with your friends and support each other, and the importance of having people around that are going the same direction that, that you're going?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go for?
Yes, you are the guest.
So, let me share like with my lifelong journey between cultures, right?
Right.
I I grew up, I had my childhood friends and being immersed with the same friends. I had the church friends, school friends, college friends. And when I moved to United States, everyone, they were not here, right?
Wow,
And
right.
then you got to build up a new circle of trust, people
Okay.
that can actually relate to you in some way, that you need to actually build that cycle of friendship that you you need to start from zero. I
Right.
literally had to start from zero, right? Connecting with people and letting them know who I was, that I came from a good family and I have values, I have principles. So actually, I could be accepted within a new cycle of friendship, right? Now, I do find, yes, if I have stayed my entire life in Brazil, I would probably stay within the same group.
Mhm.
However, me coming to a new country, it forced me to open up my vision and my wings to a matter where I need to be open minded, to
Yeah.
have a relationship, a friendship with anyone I come encounter with. How otherwise I will be without any friends. And the truth is, nobody can live life alone, right?
Mhm.
We need the friends. That's how we grow. We receive truth, feedback from each other, and then we move on.
Yeah.
Now, throughout this journey, yes, I have had friends when I moved to here that I no longer have contact with them, and I have friends now that they have been friends with me, and the Kendra is one of them, right, amiga?
Yes.
We have been friends like forever, and for me, it's extremely important to keep it within um my inner circle, let me say it like this, my inner circle, friends that are going to support me on my dreams, and the
Mhm.
friends that are going to speak the truth in my life, when even those moments where I do not want to hear.
Right.
However, I need to also be mature enough to accept and say, yes, you're right, and I need to grow in that area of my life. So and one thing that Grant Cardone, I am very immersed in the 10X community, and I have him as my mentor.
Mhm.
So one thing that he teaches, you are the average of the 5 people you relate to, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So for me, it's extremely important. Okay, what did their life look like?
Mhm.
What's their fruits? Because we know the tree by the fruits. What their fruits looks like? What's how much they are scaling their mind? How much they're expanding their actions? I do not want to be friends with a couch potato person, right? Because that's not who I am. We are
Right.
going to collapse dreams. We are going to not speak the same language.
Yeah.
Do
Right.
I want to be, can I be friends and be a motivated? Yes. However, I'm going to be here, and that person, we're not going to see eye to eye in a lot of aspects. But at the same time,
Yeah.
you need to understand that people are putting your life for a reason and for a season, right? So
Mhm.
I'm a truly believer on that as well.
Yeah.
Uh, everyone that I come in contact with on a daily basis, I'm a heart giving person, so I always treat with love and respect.
Yeah.
And one thing my husband is going to tell you, I can meet somebody in a couple hours and it's going to look like we are best friends, and I have known that person for years, because that just comes natural for me.
Yeah.
You never know what is the person's history,
Mhm.
story, and how much that person can add it to your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So every single person that you come in contact with, it's an opportunity for you to grow, for you to collab, for you to learn, and that's what I believe on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they serve
I,
a purpose. And your circles change as you
It does.
evolve. They
yes.
begin to change, and that's okay. I used to cling to people and think like, oh my goodness, they're leaving or they're going. But I realized that they serve their purpose, and
Yeah,
what's meant for me to stay is going to stay, and what's not meant for me that's meant not to stay is going to go. And
exactly.
so once I realized that, the flow was easy. Okay. And it doesn't mean like they're going, like you're not going to ever be in touch with them. It's just that
Right.
they serve their purpose for that moment. And
Yeah.
then, you just keep moving. My circle is completely different from the circle that I had last year and
Yes.
the year before. And
Right.
it's constantly changing. And before coming from a childhood where people keep friends forever and they stay with the same cliques, it was hard for me. But I'm realizing each person I've grown so much, and my circle right now might even change a little bit more, and it's okay. Yeah.
Yep, 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 for sure. And I think it falls out naturally. Like what I found is like you were saying, Letty, like the conversations become different. Like it was interesting. One of my close friends, before I really started immersing myself in like my business and let's talk about it and work and just doing all this stuff. I mean, me and her would get together and boy, we could have like an hour conversation about the Real Housewives of X, Y, and you know what I mean? And about Real House or whatever live shows, we would just be like, da, 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 right?
Right.
And at some point, I knew our friendship, now we're still friends today, but
Right.
I knew there was a shift because she actually said to me, she was like, girl, you're not keeping up with anything anymore. You know what I mean? She was like,
Right.
but you haven't watched this, you haven't watched this. And I'm like, no, I haven't watched
Right.
it. And I mean, she's a true friend. She, supports what I do and stuff like that. So now
Right.
I'm like, if she wants to talk about it, I'm like, well, this is what I heard on the radio because my TV is always off because I'm always, involved in something else.
Right.
But it's just interesting on how that happened, like naturally. And then
Yeah.
our conversation. So now, like my conversations with her are probably like 20%, versus my conversations with someone that's in that same flow. Like we can talk for like hours. Like I can talk hours about personal development. The other thing that I would say too is this is one of the things that me and Leticia did together, especially as we were starting out with our different entrepreneur things, is that we actually would meet and talk about our businesses and our goals and okay, this is what I'm gonna do, and then help each other like just brainstorm and stuff. And I think that's important too, is to have friends around you that have that same experience. Of course, it's always too good to have people that are where you want to be, but even people that are also can experience, they know what you're going through and the
Yeah.
struggles that you're having and the things that I mean that's really important because you know that you're not alone and that you can it's like the wind beneath your wings type of thing. You guys can support each other. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's important.
I was gonna say what's crazy is like last year I worked for a school and I loved the school and I loved the staff and I loved the director, and it was just like it was heaven. I loved waking up in the morning, going to work. We vibed. Everything was just perfect. And then COVID hit, and I was forced to
Mm,
move from that circle. It was like just like ripping me. You know what I mean? And then
right.
now I have a new circle, and it took me a while to like get used to that. And then every now and again, I'll think back, wow, that was my circle there. It was perfect. But
Right.
you don't know what's meant for you. And I could, the staff there could tell you, I was like, I am not going nowhere. I'm going to retire here. And I always say they had an ice machine. I loved ice at the time. They had an industrial sized ice machine. I didn't need nothing else, no insurance. That's all I wanted. And then I look back and I was like, wow, it just changed, and
Yeah.
I had to let that go. And it's not that it didn't serve me in a good way. It's just that whatever is planned for me, it's time for me to move on. And so I just had to go deep inside and say, okay, let it go. You still love these ladies. You still see them. You might see them on Facebook, but you're good.
Right. Right.
You're
Right.
good. Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think I also wanted to talk about friendships. Like friendships have changed. And I say that because it changes because of social media. And I have met people on social media that I'm like this, and we've never physically met or ever seen each other. You know what I mean? And we're going like 4 and 5, 6 years deep of not seeing each other. So those friends are awesome too to have. Yeah.
Yep, I agree. I think one thing before COVID hit, that I took advantage of that I think everyone should take advantage of. And some of them have bad reputations, but I have to say my experience with them was great, are the meetup groups.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
you know, if you find like a meetup group that you know, if whatever your hobbies, your likes, your goals are, you know,
Yeah.
even if you're not there yet, but here's a group that is doing what you want to do, getting involved in those types of groups are good because I've met a lot of great people that I'm still connected to. And it's like you're going there and you almost have a bit of a head start because you know you guys at least are showing up for the same reason. So at least there's a greater probability that they will be, you know, part of your tribe. So, you know, once we get out of the the COVID world, then I definitely encourage people. And it can be a little uncomfortable because you don't know anyone and then you're showing up at this location. But I will say that I've never had a bad experience. So the people there have been good, supportive, you know, mature, and you can tell in the communications leading up to the meetup, you know, what kind of people you're dealing with. So I think that too is that was a great resource for me.
I was just for another resource. So there's so many resources out, and I remember in the beginning of COVID, there was just so many, and they were giving them away for free. Like it was to the point where I had to say, "Girl, no more. You cannot sign up for another free app because you don't have enough time." It was just like a waste of time. But if you're interested in a specific, like a mentor or an app, reach out to them. You know what I mean? Like I literally reached out to it was Calm. Calm offered every teacher free Calm for a year. So I was able to use that in my meditation classes. You know what I mean? Some of these companies will offer you these things for a year or even more. Or mentors. I reached out to Sin Colburn's husband, Josh Coburn, and I was like, oh my goodness, he's gonna think I'm crazy. But you never know. I reached out to David Goggins when he first came out. I sent him an email and I said, I would love for you to just like, I really need this kick in the butt. And he politely wrote me an email back and said, you know, I'm working on my book and I won't be doing any types of, you know, mentorship right now. And that was okay. But you never know who can reach out and help you at that time. It's just a second email or a text or a DM away. Yeah.
So true. Let's see if we have any, if you guys have any last comments, we should go to a quick commercial break.
Yes.
And then when we come back, we are going to wrap it up.
We have one. Charles Berkeley says, you have to know when it's time to change your circle. It doesn't mean you don't love them any less, but you have to make room for yourself to grow. I always say that you have to stay uncomfortable to be great or reach your maximum potential. That's true. Because when he told me about this podcast, I was like, no.
Girl,
like I am not a camera person. I still get nervous when I go live. And just that visual, it took some time for me to like, you know, but guess what? If I would have been chicken and said no, I wouldn't have been able to meet you lovely ladies and all the other people that I get to meet, nor my message would have stayed contained to this little small circle where now I can tell people about the things that I love and that are helpful way beyond my little small circle. So
And even me and Izzy starting Let's Talk About It. Remember, Izzy? It was just like we barely knew each other, and we did one show together, right? And we were like, well, let's do this every week. We had no plan. Like, let's just do it.
Yeah, no, we were like, well, what are we gonna name it? I was like, well, we talking, so let's talk about it. That's it.
And then that's it.
Yeah. I love names like that. I told my son, it's kind of like off the topic. I was like, wouldn't it be cool to have a restaurant called Someplace to Eat? He's like, Mom.
I
actually like that.
It's weird, you know what I mean? It's someplace to eat. And
that's
people will go to stuff like that.
Yourself. That's one of the things you should have kept yourself so that way when you open your restaurant, now someone's going to come out with it.
I'm giving that freely to whoever wants to take that name and go ahead. Just make sure I get a free meal when I pop up in there for giving you that.
I know that's right. So let's go to a quick commercial and then come back and wrap things up.
Awesome. That's like one of my favorite commercials of the A Game. I like all those colors.
When I saw it, I knew you were going to love it.
I love that one. It's so cool.
Yeah.
So if anyone's interested in the A Game, you have to reach out to Charles Brakely. You can send him a DM or a message through Feel Good Talk, or he'll provide a phone number for you guys. Letty, I am so excited to just have you on here. You are like a breath of fresh air, and to just hear that you've gone through so much in your journey with depression and everything else, and you've overcome that mindset that you've talked about today will reach everyone in Feel Good Talk family and far beyond that. And people need to hear that now. You know what I mean? To know that they can move forward and they can do the same thing. It's all about what you think, speaking it into existence, believing in yourself, finding a community, finding a group, a tribe that you can connect with. And all these things don't have to happen all at once. You can do piece by piece, but it's really important to create that bubble for you and for yourself so you can do what you're destined to do in life. So absolutely love having you on here. And we always say, if you're welcome to come back. Once you're a part of the Feel Good Talk family, you're always a part of the Feel Good Talk family.
I love it being alive. So.
Yeah.
Kendra knows it.
Yeah.
We loved having you here. So you are welcome. And if you guys want to find us, Feel Good Talk, we're on LinkedIn at Feel Good Talk. We're on Facebook at Feel Good Talk. YouTube is FGT, Mind, Body, Soul, and Business. And Instagram is at feel.goodtalk. And our Facebook page is www.feelgoodtalk.net. If you're interested in running ads on our podcast, reach out, send us a personal message. We'd love to run your ads during our show. If you're interested in being a guest, feel free to reach out. We'd love to have you as well. So thank you, Letty. Did you have any other? Oh, we have one more comment. Kendra, watching you leave a company that you've been with for 20 years has been an eye-opener to me. You're our family motivation. Your South Carolina's family loves you.
Aww. Thank you. I love you guys. Yeah, talk about having a supportive, like Letty said, because I'm here in Delaware. I don't have family here. Not as dramatic as moving from Brazil, right? But keeping in contact with your roots. And for those of you who watched our vision board episode a long time ago, roots was on my vision board because that's something that I think is really important. And since I've been up here now for 20 something years and soon to be headed back down south, that's one of the big motivators for me is strengthening those roots further. So I love you too, fam. Very, very much. So Letty, leave us, if you have to say one last thing, is there something that we didn't ask you or talk about that you want to leave with the audience before we go? And if not, then tell us, where do you see yourself in 5 years? So either one of these questions.
Okay. First, I wanted to thank you guys for inviting me to be here. Thank you, Kendra, my dear friend from my heart. You have known, you know me from when I did not speak English, right? Yes, that was I can thank you for holding on with me.
You made it easy.
Yes. That's true love, true friendship.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it so much, and it is definitely a pleasure, to be here. It's an honor I would say that the little version of me, you know, I'm 34 years old. So 34 years ago, actually, no, I was newborn, but when I was 8 years old,
Right.
I would never think, right, that I would be even speaking English, in a podcast, with two beautiful and strong women,
Oh,
they are making the difference as well. So if I had ever limited myself, if I had ever put my dreams in a small box,
right.
I would never have come this far. And the only thing that I would like to add it is for to not limit yourself on what is your reality right now, and that has never been my lifestyle. It has never been who I am. I'm not a person that lives according to my reality. I'm always living according to what I know is possible, to what I know can become a reality.
Yes.
And that it is in my blood, it is in who I am. So if you are watching this, for the very first time, if it can impact your life in some sort of way, that's what I have for you. Because sometimes we are so limited to within four walls, to your household,
Right.
limited to your neighborhood, limited
Yeah.
to your city, limited to your state. And there is so much more, and you don't know about the opportunities until you actually put yourself in that place.
Yes. Yes.
So I
Yes.
say, if you want to change your life and live in a better place, driving in neighborhoods that you wish you could afford to live there, right?
Right.
If you wanted to work in a job, that's the dream you had when it was a little version of you, then go and drive around of the building, right, the
Yeah.
company, research about it. So nobody's going to do for you.
Right.
You need to do for yourself. And because you get a history, a story, a family story with you, that doesn't mean it should become your reality, right?
Right.
You can begin a new story for your family, for your next generation. So
Right.
that's what I wanted to share. And I didn't say much about me speaking a new language, but I know if you do have the curiosity and they wanted to start a new language, because sometimes we limit ourselves, say, no, that's all I can speak, it's my native language. You can
Right.
actually teach yourself, because I have done that, right? You can
Yes.
watch movies in a foreign language, read subtitles, you can listen to music in a foreign language and read the lyrics as you are
Right.
listening to. And that way you are going to learn a new language. And everything in life, right, it comes with consistency. You're doing every single day over and over again.
Yes. I love that.
That was a
Thank you
perfect
so much.
close. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Love you to death.
I know that's
You
okay.
already know.
Practicing this. I'll do it good this
Thank you guys
time.
for tuning in. Cheryl said awesome advice. Let's see if we have any more. All right. So
We
thank you
love you
guys
guys.
for tuning in. Love you. We'll see you next week. Share this
Yes.
awesome, awesome podcast. See you next week.
Yes.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.